Clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Cavell? Where'd you go? Okay, I'll come back. Erickson Galt? Gershenson? I'm back. Maybe she's with Cavell. Gingell?
Here.
Hoffman? Johnson?
Present.
Joliet?
Here.
Long?
Here.
Lubes? Markham? Miller? Nelson? Powell? Rahman?
Present.
Smith Charles? Present. Thank you. Spiz?
Present.
Taylor?
Here.
Whitebert?
Here.
Woodward?
Here.
Here.
Oh, Cavell? Here. Gershenson?
Here.
Okay, Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The invocation this evening will be led by the Honorable Ann Erickson Galt, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. You're on the right rotation.
Let's prepare ourselves for prayer or quiet contemplation, first by breathing in deeply and letting it out slowly. May we fulfill our duties here in our work and in our lives with integrity and dignity. May what we do here better the lives of all who live and work in our county. May we all prosper. May we be free from want. May we be loved and give love. And may we all know peace in our homes, our communities, our country, and our world. Amen.
Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson Galt. First up, approval of the minutes dated January 18th. Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Joliet. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes are approved unanimously. Next up is the approval of agenda. Motion to move the agenda. Moved by Commissioner Yolanda Smith Charles, seconded by Commissioner Joliet. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda has been approved unanimously. We've got a couple proclamations this evening. And so first up, I will bring up Commissioners Penny Lubes and Ann Erickson Galt.
Thank you, Chair. And in return, I would like to invite Sally Hwang up and Commissioner Nash. So, Sally, young people such as you use your creativity to educate and motivate others about our collective role in responsible environment stewardship and are deserving of celebration.
Whereas Sally is a fifth grade Leonard Elementary student whose artwork is showcased on the cover of the 2024 Kids Clean Water Calendar, the annual calendar contest hosted by the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner and Pure Oakland Water welcomes fourth and fifth graders in Oakland County schools to submit artwork on the We Can All Help Keep Oakland County Lakes, Rivers, Streams, and Watersheds Clean theme using crayon, marker, ink, pencil, watercolor, or paint.
Whereas this is the WRC's 19th annual competition, and Sally is the 6th consecutive student from the Troy community to win the grand prize. In addition to her submission gracing the calendar's cover, Sally receives keepsake swag that includes her artwork and drawing supplies in recognition of her success. And whereas in this special occasion, we join the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner, Jim Nash, Pure Oakland Water, and Sally's family and friends to congratulate her on the selection as the cover artist for the 2024 Kids Clean Calendar Contest.
Thank
Want to read
you.
the last part?
So I have a couple of questions. Have you always been interested in art?
Yeah, from a young age, I always like to draw.
And have you been involved in any other contests?
Yeah, I have been involved in other contests like the garden art contest, Chinese zodiac contest, other ones. It's whatever I see, I do it.
So you're just a natural, and I appreciate your time in entering the contest, and I appreciate your design, and I am glad to have you here. So thank you. So here's your plaque. Thank you. And with that, we're going to step right up here, and Mom, would you come and join us?
We have the calendar hanging up in my home office. We have another proclamation this evening being presented by Commissioners Angela Powell, Yolanda Smith-Charles, and Lenny Taylor. So if I can call all three of you to the podium.
Hello, so this actual proclamation isn't being presented, it's just being added to our records in the county. So I will start it and then I will share with my colleagues. So Black History Month is what we're honoring today. Whereas the story of the country cannot be told without paying tribute to generations of Black Americans and their endeavors to achieve the American dream of equality and freedom, and whereas Black history is American history. From the enslaved people forced into labor to soldiers who have fought for our country in every conflict, starting with the Revolutionary War, to those who have pivotal in the struggle for civil rights and equality for all people, Black Americans have made immeasurable contributions to our country. They have become famous inventors, artists, scientists, and more. And those legacies have helped shape the culture and economy of present-day America. And
whereas Harvard-trained historian Carter G. Woodson created Negro History Week in 1925 to raise awareness of these contributions. The first observance was held in February 1926 during a week that encompassed the birthdays of both Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. The celebration continued to gain momentum, and President Gerald R. Ford expanded it to Black History Month in 1976 on its 50th anniversary. And
whereas all of our communities are enriched by preserving and reflecting on the ways in which we honor local historical figures and groups, whether through local initiatives such as the Oakland County Underground Railroad History Project, or regional institutions such as the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, we all benefit from creating a legacy of remembrance. Additionally, the myriad of Black organizations in the area provides community support in ways that range from physical to the financial to the spiritual. There is no shortage of remarkable testaments to the strength, endurance, and faith of Black Americans in the pursuit of equality, excellence, and culture.
you finish? Go on, girl.
Whereas during February and every month, we join with the entire Black community to reflect on their contributions to and sacrifices for our country. And we commit to continuing the work towards justice, inclusion, and equity for all residents. Now, therefore, David T. Woodward, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, Commissioners Angela Powell, Yolanda Smith-Charles, and Lenny Taylor, and the entire Oakland County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim as Black History Month in the beautiful county of Oakland today.
Thank you. Yeah, let's get a picture. Okay.
Thank you very much, commissioners. That will move us on to communications. So the clerk can read, I think we have four communications?
Three today. The first is dated January 29th, 2024. Dear Chairman Woodward, please be advised that acting pursuant to miscellaneous resolution number 12083, adopted Articles of Incorporation of the Oakland County Art Institute Authority, Article 3, Section 1, I am pleased to appoint Bo Chang to the Board of Directors of the Oakland County Art Institute Authority. This appointment shall become effective immediately. Mr. Chang will serve the completion of the current term through the next term ending on May 22nd, 2028. Mr. Chang shall take the required oath of office prior to commencing the performance of his duties pursuant to this appointment. Very truly yours, David Coulter, Oakland County Executive. The next communication is dated February 5th, 2024, and it is from Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter appointing, what is his name? Where's his first name? Robert Whitcomb to the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council as the representative for District 8. And I was going to read the whole, I should just read the whole letter. All right, because it's not written to the commission, so that's why I wasn't going to read the whole letter, but I'll read the whole letter. Dear Mr. Whitcomb, I am pleased to appoint you to the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council as the representative for District 8. Your interest in senior issues and community endeavors have made you an excellent individual for this council. I look forward to your participation on the council and to recommendations for understanding and improving the quality of life for Oakland County older adults. Meetings of the council are generally held on the third Monday of each month, virtually using Microsoft Teams, with meeting links being shared via email the week prior to the meeting. Again, thank you for your commitment. Sincerely, Dave Coulter. And the final communication tonight was dated January 29th, 2024 to Ms. Rusty Rossman. I'll read the letter again. Dear Ms. Rossman, I am pleased to appoint you to the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council as the representative for District Number 12. Your interests in senior issues and community endeavors have made you an excellent individual for this council. I look forward to your participation on the council and to recommendations for understanding and improving the quality of life for Oakland County older adults. Meetings of the council are generally held on the third Monday of each month, virtually using Microsoft Teams, with meeting links being shared via email the week prior to the meeting. Again, thank you for your commitment. Sincerely, Dave Coulter.
Thank you very much. I thought there was a grant exception. Is there a HUD grant exception?
I don't have anything, there's nothing else on the agenda.
Hold on one second.
Not on, okay,
Can,
not on mine. And I don't have one. Okay. But wait, there's more. Okay, one more. Dated February 7th, 2024, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Please accept this letter as notification that I've exercised the authority granted to the chair of the board to approve grant applications in excess of $50,000 for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline. Due to the grantor deadlines and the board's grant submission process and calendar, it is not possible to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. I've authorized the submission of the following grant application. The name was the HUD Office of Housing Counseling Comprehensive Housing Counseling Grant for the department, the Health and Human Services Neighborhood and Housing Development. The amount is unknown, but for fiscal year 2022, the grant amount total award was $51,149, and the grant application deadline was February 8th, 2024. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chair.
all right, that one just cut. I mean, just cut the cutoff. Can we get a motion to receive and file the communications? Moved by Hoffman, seconded by Markham. Any discussion?
Who made it?
Hoffman made the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Markham, second. And any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving the communication, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the communications have been received unanimously. Next is public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to comment. This first public comment is to comment on items on the agenda. We ask, I believe we've got someone signed up. If you haven't signed up, I'll call on you following. Ask that you come to the podium. Keep your comments to 3 minutes. We've got a little timer up here that'll help keep you on track. If you exceed that, I'll ask you to wrap up your comments so that we can make sure that everyone in the board has an opportunity to talk. Please direct your comments to me. And the person who signed up is Sylvia Modugno. Sylvia? Hi, Sylvia. How are you? Welcome. If you could just state, again, your name and community, and the floor is yours.
Certainly. Is this my mic?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I also have written statements, if I may share those. All right. Thanks very much. Well, thank you, Chair and Vice Chair. I appreciate this opportunity to be here with you all, Commissioners. My name is Sylvia Orduno. I am a longtime community organizer out of Detroit, where I live, but I've been working in Southeast Michigan since 1997. And most of those years have been working specifically on water affordability. And I wanted to share a few remarks here with you. So first, you're here to appreciate what you're going to be taking up as a vote later on today in support of statewide water affordability legislation through your resolution. I have been working on water affordability problems with low-income residents back at the turn of the century, especially in Highland Park and Detroit, trying to understand the systemic issues that play out both at the household level and the utility level when residents can't afford to pay their water bills. And so for many years, residents and grassroots advocates have fought against many biased and hurtful narratives and even racist tropes that portray people as not wanting to pay their water bills. And after many years of trying to dispute and set up a water affordability program, or dispute those tropes and set up a water affordability program back in Detroit as far back as 2005, we knew that we couldn't move forward on this important social and public health matter unless we started talking with residents, leaders like you north of 8 Mile. And so prior to the pandemic, many Oakland County resident members of the People's Water Board Coalition, who I represent, which is a coalition of 36 Michigan social justice, environmental, and faith-based organizations, started meeting with Oakland County leaders, including several of you here, and we have talked about the state of unaffordable bills across the region. Many of those conversations also took place with the Oakland County Water Commissioner and his fabulous staff, and we contributed to the large stakeholder engagement and resources for that remarkable 126-page Water Affordability Solutions report that they produced a couple of years ago. So leaders in this commission in particular, and I want to also really offer my deep appreciation and respect to Chair Woodward and also Commissioner Cavell and others in the Legislative and Government Affairs Committee for your leadership here to understand the plight of residents and again, not continue to put forward these harmful narratives. You have been very helpful in assessing the household needs that residents need to have affordable bills alongside the very real infrastructure issues that we're all compounded with. We've seen the reports from the American Society of Engineers that talk about the $1 trillion needed in Michigan for infrastructure repairs, but how do we pay for that? And how do we do so in a way that doesn't keep putting that impact on households that are least able to afford it? There's many good conversations going around about green infrastructure, and your ability to connect these two with the needs of low-income households is very necessary. So what we're asking for you is, as you go forward with this vote for the resolution today, to please continue to have the conversation with state officials. I've been going around all over Southeast Michigan. In fact, I was in Sterling Heights last night. Tomorrow I'll be in Fraser and Warren on Monday. And many elected representatives are still not sure that this is an issue they should be talking about at the local level. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else from the public that'd like to speak on any item on today's agenda? Seeing none, I will close public comment and it'll bring us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Smith Charles, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Is there any discussion on any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please prompt the vote?
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman? Yes. Commissioner Weipert?
Yes.
Commissioner Powell? Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Cavell? Yes. Wow. Commissioner Rahman?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is adopted. Next up, I will call on Commissioner Brendan Johnson. Let's see if we can keep that track.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I have before us today 4 items on the regular agenda from the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. Item 12A, we're just going to go one at a time. Oh, that mic is very sensitive today. Mr. Chair, I make the motion to adopt the attached resolution entitled Support Senate Bills 549 to 551 and HB 5088 through 5090 to create a low-income water residential affordability program and the Water Shutoff Protection Act.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Cavell. Is there any discussion? Seeing none? A little afraid of it. All right, Commissioner Cavell, followed by Commissioner Spiz. Make sure that you talk to the mic, Commissioner.
Talking trash over here.
Okay, just don't do that. Don't do that.
So, thank you, Chair. I just want to lift this up. It's fairly simple. This bill, or this resolution has several bills within it, and there's a lot of words, but fundamentally what we're talking about is a need and then a common sense solution. So the need is over 800,000 households in Michigan. 13,000 of those households are folks in Oakland County, are people that can fundamentally not afford their water bills. A lot of those people also include 65 and up seniors living off Social Security, and so that's the problem, is they can't afford their water. This package of bills provides solutions, because right now where we are is underinvestment in our water with a failing infrastructure that's going to then kick people off of their ability to have clean drinking water and things to brush their teeth and cook food with. So this addresses that problem while we wait for the federal government to get its act together, which it hasn't done in the last 40 years of advocacy, and makes things more affordable.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that's one thing we agree on is the federal government has not got their act together in the last 40 years to help with these infrastructure issues that continue to compound and compound. I think we're all for helping people that are in need of help. But I believe there's programs out there today that are already in place to help people, especially the people for water and unable to pay those bills. And it's called REP, right? And we in Oakland County are only using 50 to 55%, depends on which number of the day people are talking about, of those monies assigned to help those individuals out. So personally, I'd like to see that number increase to 90 or 100% before we start implementing other tools on a statewide program to help these individuals out. And on top of that, we're putting this money into Lansing. So we're pouring more money into Lansing and relying on the government to help manage that money, which is not always a good way to go. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Gingell.
Thank you. I just want to add on to Commissioner Spiz's comments relative to when the water commissioner was in our caucus, we asked about the process of sending money from Oakland County to Lansing, having a bureaucratic body designate that money from Lansing to municipalities, including Oakland. And there is no guarantee that the money we send to Lansing comes back to Oakland County. It can go to other places. And the experience I think we all have with vehicle registrations, gas tax, and other things is that when the money goes to Lansing, it doesn't come back to us at 100% level. So to me, I don't think it's something that we should be putting on the table to have our residents pay for something that there's no assurance will come back to our community. So I'll be a no. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I was so excited to have this come before our committee today, not just because I'm the chair of the committee and I spend most of my working days in Lansing. I was in the Capitol for the vast majority of today, but because I believe in the social contract between humans in a community. And when we decide that we want to have a society instead of just a group of hunter-gatherers, civilization is really built on that contract that we make and the basic philosophy of having a government. And I think this is a really good example of a community like mine. Although I will say that the Water Resources Commissioner was very generous with data, and there are a lot of potential beneficiaries in all of our communities. But a community that might be more well off, having the opportunity to be a good neighbor to our fellow Michiganders. And I think I will never shirk on my responsibility to be a good neighbor to my fellow Michiganders. So with that, I yield.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Joliet. Commissioner Ginzel for a second time.
I echo my fellow commissioners' comments on the Republican side, and I appreciate the spirit of this bill to help those in need of water. But we do have a system that works right now, RAP, that has evolved. From what I understand, there's 8 counties that actually participate in this in their own individual way. And the wheel's already been invented, so I don't know why we just don't expand something that's working to the rest of the state of Michigan for them to have their own RAP programs.
Commissioner Ginzel, followed by Commissioner Cavell.
So I'm wearing red. I feel like I'm the State Farm, I am a good neighbor guy today. So
I thought you were Mahomes.
I could be Mahomes. So I just want to make a point, and I appreciate Commissioner Johnson's comments, but the reality is we have a fiduciary responsibility for the residents in the county of Oakland, not for the state of Michigan, not for the residents of the county of Genesee. And when we pay money from our residents that goes into a pot that doesn't come back to our residents, to me, that's not a good fiduciary decision representing the people of Oakland County, which is who we're voted to represent. So otherwise, we should be in the State House, and then we can have the state discussion, in my opinion.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cavell for a second time.
What's that?
You should have funded for the State House.
Just to clarify a couple things real quick. First, we talked about fiduciary responsibility, and then second, we talked about the current programs that exist. Okay.
You gotta get
Better?
closer. You have to put it closer to your mouth.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yes.
All right.
We're a year into the term.
I'll do it again. Maybe this time it'll sound better. Okay. What did I say before? There's 2 points. Damn. Oh, wait, I remember. The RAP program is not sufficient. And then second, we do have a fiduciary responsibility. And so I want to just touch on first the RAP program. It does not work. That's why we're doing all these other bills. Because there are people that fall above the poverty line that are still not able to afford their water bill. If you're living off of an $1,800 a month Social Security check, you are not at 100% of the federal poverty line. The 30% of Oakland County residents that can't afford a $400 emergency are not people in poverty, according to the stats that qualify you for RAP. Only 9% of Oakland County residents qualify for RAP, because that's what it means to be poor, based on the stats. But a whole nother 21% of people, another 150,000 households, cannot afford their water bills and other things. So when you say that it's working, it's not. That's what this is about. And then second, fiduciary responsibility. This is $2 a month. In my household, that's $1 per person, or $1 per cat, okay? Like, if you can't handle it, then we have these programs for you. So no need to draw it out and say that it's this terrible tax and spend or some crazy onerous burden on people. It's $2 a month.
Any other discussion? I have something, that I want to say in relation to this. It was mentioned that this is very similar to LIHEAP, a program that everyone in this room overwhelmingly supports. As a state, has been hugely successful to make sure that people don't have their gas and electricity turned off in the coldest parts of the year. This is the exact similar type program for water. I know a lot about the RAP program. In fact, the late Bruce Patterson appointed me to be on the committee to make sure that Oakland County had its fair share of the RAP dollars. And I remember showing up at that very first meeting, and everyone in the room says, this isn't enough money to fix the problem. Will it help some people? Yes, but it had limitations in terms of its duration, and frankly, so many people that would never be eligible that we know that there's an absolute need. So when we have something that is at the cost to a homeowner, and I'll mention $2, that ensures that every child never has their water turned off. We can take a bath and drink the water every day. No senior has their water turned off. We can fix this problem and fix infrastructure in homes that are wasting water that drive the bills up. It's a good thing to do. From a fiduciary responsibility, when people can't pay their bills, the system doesn't take in enough money to run itself. And it's a math problem. It costs X to run, and if it doesn't bring in Y to pay for those things, there's a deficit. And if you can't pay that deficit, then you can't do the improvements to the infrastructure. You can't be ahead of the game. And frankly, under the leadership of Jim Nash, who's been so incredible on this package of bills, and doing everything we can to be ahead of the curve, we need that revenue. I believe, the commissioner shared with me that we have water system communities in which there's a massive deficit in their water funds because they have residents who can't pay. And when that system fails, the health of that water is compromised, the integrity of that water system is injured, and we're far worse off. And so this is a reasonable thing at the right time to, for once and for all, address this problem, fix this problem, and make sure that water is not deprived for people, everybody, because water is free. With that, let's call the vote. Madam Clerk.
Okay. Well, let's see if. Okay. Commissioner Lubes? Commissioner Gershenson? Yeah.
Maybe try some vote again if you want.
Can we just do a revote? Sure, we were.
Yeah, try.
Sure.
You did something to mine.
Reset. Okay. Yeah. So the reason we're revoting is that the prompts aren't coming out of the devices. So
Did you fix
the
your?
question before
I did
us.
something else. He went on my agenda.
And it was.
I got it. Mine's up now.
It's all okay. So the question before, it's the same question. It's the support for this legislation.
Did yours come up?
Yes.
Hopefully that's
Yes.
working now for everybody.
It's really just a reconsideration, but yeah.
That's weird though, because you can refresh it one time and it's up the next. I know.
Get ready.
Did, is Miller? Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 13 yeas, 6 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Moving on to item 12B, I would like to make the motion to approve the proposed supplemental agreement between the County of Oakland and the United Auto Workers Local 889 covering the period of February 7th, 2024 through September 30th, 2024 for supervisory employees in the Board of Commissioners Department. Further, that the board chairperson on behalf of the County of Oakland is authorized to execute said supplemental agreements as attached.
Moved by Johnson, seconded by Miller. Any discussion? Commissioner Spitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so the public is aware what this amendment is, it's allowing staff to go to 4 10-hour workdays as an option. In general, I do not support 4 10-hour workdays for our staff or anybody else's staff, especially when the people they support work 5 days a week or more. So to me, I will be voting against this. Thank you.
I think it's also important to notice that the 410 policy extends beyond unionized workforce, but it is actually a policy that the departments say that it works within their operations is a tool that's allowed. But yes, it is it's listed as a permissible activity here in the Board of Commissioners.
But most of them.
Commissioner Wong.
I was just going to confirm, it's not all the departments, it's just some departments going to 10 hours, correct? If it doesn't work, they're not going to do a 10-hour
Correct.
or
It's not
10-hour day.
yes, correct. It's not mandatory. It is, I mean, it's obviously 24/7 operations.
Or something that needs to be open Friday for public will stay 8-hour shift.
Right. Well,
Okay.
we're open on Friday, so.
Right.
We're not
That's what I'm
closed.
saying. So it's not all of the, it's a certain categories or job positions. Thank you.
Commissioner Cavell.
You know, Commissioner Spiz brings up a really good point that, you know, a lot of people work 5 days a week. So, and if we're talking 410s, you know, my dad, he used to drive a truck. They have 11.5-hour shifts. So I don't know, do we just want to do this like 412s maybe? Are we an amendment to that or? Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other? I didn't know where you were going with that. Any further discussion? Miller, Commissioner Miller, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have to say, I said this in caucus, is this was agreed on by the departments and the union together, so it's an agreement together, and it has to be approved. It's not just a department or employee can say, I'm doing 410s. So as business needs, this will be approved. So I support this fully, and I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Seeing no further comments, Madam Clerk, please prompt the votes. You only get one vote, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yes, we are voting only on approving the labor agreement.
Commissioner Erickson Gall? Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 2 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the contract is approved. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Moving on to item C, then, Chair, the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee recommends the following board action to appoint Tony Sievert to the Building Authority for a 3-year term beginning February 7th, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2026.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? Commissioner Gage.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to offer amendment on the motion relative to the appointment, and I think you all have it in front of you, and you see the amendment wording in red, which says, further, the appointee shall resign from all political action PAC committees within 30 days contingent upon their appointment. And if I can speak to it.
Moved by Commissioner Gengel, seconded by Commissioner Long.
So first of all, I have to say that that Tony, the potential appointee, came to our caucus. Very well spoken. Really appreciate the courtesy of him coming. We don't always get that courtesy. And as an individual, I really appreciated what he had to say. My concern is that we're putting an individual on the building committee that will be interacting with entities and individuals coming in relative to building in Oakland County. And to me, it's a potential conflict of interest that he sits on PACs, and there's nothing wrong with sitting on PACs. It just, to me, it sets up a potential slippery slope that's not fair, in my opinion, to the individual or to Oakland County. And I'm not disparaging or judging or commenting specifically about Mr. Sievert. I'm just talking about, in practicality, what we're doing here sets up a situation that I don't think is appropriate. And just while we had some spare time, I actually did a little looking on campaign finances, and I saw that more than one commissioner actually had donations from Pipe Fitters Local 636 PAC. And again, I'm not saying it's this individual. I'm just saying that it came from the PACs on which he sits and represents, which even furthers my thought around if he'd like to be on the building authority, he just should resign and step back from those PACs so there's no potential conflict of interest at all. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gengel. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that respectfully, that's a ridiculous amendment. Everybody in this room lives in Oakland County, has contact with some business that does work in Oakland County, so we should all just leave right now. Being on a PAC, contributing to any of us, it has nothing to do with the building authority. We don't have authority over that. The contracts go through, it goes through our policy process. They're just vetting it and seeing who fits the bill. So I think this is a horrible, respectfully horrible amendment, and I'll be definitely voting absolutely no on this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. I talked to Tony after our caucus, and he did indicate to me that when his term is up in December, he would step down from the PAC, for whatever that's worth.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Commissioner Gingill for a second time.
Yes, I would just like to address Commissioner Miller. So I appreciate the respectfulness, but let me share with you my thoughts in seeing this for over 20 years. When you see individuals involved in PACs that have the opportunity to build relationships through appointments, and I'm not saying this gentleman would do this, okay? But what we are doing is this board, is setting up a condition where an individual could build relationships relative to entities wanting to build in Oakland County that may also contribute to a PAC on the side. And then that PAC turns around and donates to potential candidates, which has clearly happened. That to me is a big problem. That's not naivety, that's not being unwise or foolish, that's being practical and experienced, in my opinion. So this is my opinion. We will all vote the way we want to vote. I think we're setting up a situation that, in my history, doesn't resemble Oakland County to me. It resembles other counties, and I'm not for that. Nothing against the individual. I like the gentleman. I thought he was very well spoken. I appreciate his commitment and desire to serve.
Thank you, Commissioner Gingill. Any further discussion? Go back and forth. Okay. Commissioner Miller for a second time. Vote nine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say we put subject experts on these appointments, right? These commissions, these task force. Anybody that is on anything that they're subject expert, they're going to meet and have influence. If you put a contractor on the building authority, they're going to meet other contractors and they're going to get business through them. Not say as like so. If you're putting subject experts on a situation on a committee, they're going to have that connection. They're going to get those connections and make new relationships. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's bringing union people, non-union people together, working together for a common goal for the betterment of Oakland County. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner, I'm just going to say something. The notion that this is a conflict of interest is absurd. For the 20-some years I've been on here, it seems like it was perfectly fine for other individuals who maybe were part of PACs or controlled PACs or whatever to serve on things, and now it's something different. So I think it's just absurd, and I encourage all commissioners to vote no and reject this amendment respectfully. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please. This is on the Gingill amendment. Correct.
Yep. You're voting on just the amendment right now.
This is on the amendment. Commissioner Smith Charles, how do you vote?
Oh. Are you taking my job?
I just saw that.
Her vote is registered, so her vote was registered. But I'll go through. Commissioner Gershenson? Commissioner Miller?
Absolutely no.
Commissioner Johnson?
No.
Commissioner Taylor?
No.
Wait, what?
Commissioner Smith Charles.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So Smith Charles, you had indicated yes by pushing your button. So are you changing that vote? That's why you raised your hand? Okay, so changing it to a no. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Chair, you have 6 yeas, 13 nays.
Sufficient numbers not voting in the affirmative. The amendment fails. Brings us back to the main motion. Is there any further discussion on the main motion? Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a member of the LAGO committee now for, the past 6 years, there's been an alarming pattern of a lack of transparency and open government when it comes to filling appointments on various boards and authorities, especially over the past 2 years. While I know, Mr. Chairman, you have already objected to my concerns of transparency, I'd like to note that all committee meetings can be easily watched on the Oakland County Board of Commissioners YouTube channel. With that being said, the lack of a fair and transparent process is the reason why I will not be supporting this appointment, and I emphasize that my vote is not, and I repeat not, a reflection of the individual who has been recommended. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I think I have an obligation to respond to that. Those comments are absolutely inappropriate, inaccurate, and wrong. I encourage the entire public to look at every LAGO meeting, every conversation that has happened on this. We have talked about this at length. People have been encouraged to seek applicants. We have engaged the chairman of the building authority to help identify quality applicants that share our values. All of those things happened, were brought forward, deliberated, probably more so on this appointment than any other. And so any assertion that this is a secret or wasn't done in a public meeting is outrageous. And so any assertion by you, Commissioner, to say that this has been some sort of abhorrent process and grossly misrepresents everybody who's been in those rooms, even if you disagree with the appointment. This has been talked about openly. We have a quality candidate, and everything you just said is grossly inaccurate. With that, Madam Clerk, please come.
Sorry, can you, if you voted, can you vote again? It kind of refreshed or something.
Do you need us to refresh?
No, I don't know if I need you to refresh.
Okay.
I need you to vote.
I don't have a prompt.
Oh,
It was so much easier when I just would call all your names.
Madam Clerk, Woodward votes yes.
Chair Woodward,
I vote yes.
Commissioner Markham.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 13 yeas, 6 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the appointment is confirmed. Congratulations. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Moving on to item D then. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee recommends the following board action: to reappoint the following individuals: Adam Furman as primary consumer, Dennis Cowan as secondary consumer, Dr. Bijaya Hans as secondary consumer, and Dr. Yolanda Giles as mental health provider to the Oakland County Health Network for a 3-year term beginning April 1st, 2024 through March 31st of 2027.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Wow, look at that.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the appointments are confirmed. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That concludes the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Thank you very much. Next time I'll get you a chair. Next up, I got I believe it's under, is this a resolution being introduced? Yes, committee referral. So I will, under new and miscellaneous business, Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce miscellaneous resolution to adopt a sponsorship for Michigan Core Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program and refer to finance.
Heard without objection. I don't believe that there's any other additional new business. Commissioner Gidget.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I just want to mention it for the record and determine what to do about it, but I am beginning to get communications from my community regarding the increased cost of the sheriff's contract and the increased cost of the dispatch, including what has been referenced to me today as a 47% increase in year one. I think it could have some dire results. It could have communities looking for options. It wasn't that long ago the village of Lake Orion had its own dispatch. I think the sheriff's office is better. But I would just say, I think as an individual representing communities that are experiencing this, I do think there could be consequences that we may have to work through. So I'm just going on record to say that I think the reality is setting in as they're seeing it. Now, this individual has said that he wasn't necessarily fully aware of that level of increase. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I don't want to get this into a two-way street. I know in caucus we had some conversation. There were some letters that went out asserting some things that just aren't true. The only entity that actually approves and sets a rate in this county is the Board of Commissioners. And we didn't get the letters. Our township supervisors got letters and contracts sent that we hadn't approved. And so on one level, we got to get in front of this thing because that's not the rate until we approve the rate, period. Staff is working with fiscal services to get a breakdown of this stuff because it's unfair to be able to say, explain a price that we haven't approved or deliberated. So our committee chairs, finance and public health, it's not just looking at dispatch, but also upcoming law enforcement contracts that will expire at the end of the year. And so duly noted, I've spoken to folks in the sheriff's office expressing my displeasure on how this is being communicated. And the dispatch contracts do not expire, I believe, until April, and so we have some time to be able to deliberate on that.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for the comments. I appreciate it. It's what I was looking for. Second, I think you will have a bipartisan effort to figure out how to have a rate that's reasonable and fair, provided we can get there. And then I guess the other thing that I would say is I think we're also going to be reviewing the request for incremental headcount within the dispatch center in upcoming committee and board meetings. And to me, it would be prudent for us to pause that until we understand what the fallout or what the situation might be in total. So just a suggestion to the chair.
Thank you. Well, public health and safety and finance, and they know they have their work cut out over the next couple of months. Thank you. Any announcements? Commissioner Spiz, followed by Commissioner Rama.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not really an announcement, but more of a personal privilege. I believe everybody's been watching the news over the last couple of days and what transpired here at this facility. And I'd like to put a public thank you out to the prosecutor's office and the sheriff's office for all the hard work they did in the Oxford incident. And I think everybody's aware that the shooter's mother was found guilty on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Sentencing is on April 9th, and there's still one more trial to go. So, and again, on top of that, I'd like to thank this Board of Commissioners because we did provide some additional funding for the prosecutor's office to be able to do all the hard work that they had to do. So, thank you.
Commissioner Rahman. Commissioner Rahman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make everybody aware of the Acorn to Oak grant program that went live last Thursday. It's a really exciting program. If you haven't already been made familiar, essentially what it is Oakland County is granting they're micro grants for youth age 8 to 18 that want to pursue their own startup. So if they have entrepreneurship skills, they want to start their own business, they want to start a nonprofit, they want to get into the community involvement space, or if it's even supporting extracurriculars to a certain extent, or educational opportunities, it gives them the ability to do so. So just wanted to make everybody aware, there's a lot of great information on the website. It's acorntoakgrant.com. Commissioner Johnson and myself were on the steering committee, and it was a really, really good opportunity to be involved in the shaping process of this grant program. So applications are open. I think the first deadline is March 15th. Yeah, I think it is March 15th. Yeah, please, I don't have the deadline offhand.
But all that information is on the website.
Is on the website, correct. Yep, so just want to make everybody aware. Thank you.
And we're doing it in partnership with Leadership Oakland.
Leadership Oakland, correct.
There's someone else after Robin. I thought Okay.
Marcia.
Commissioner Gershenson, followed by Commissioner Nelson.
I just want to copy Commissioner Long's comments from the last meeting to advise everyone that this organization that our own clerk is dancing with the stars in, it does incredible work. It's called Faith in Action, and if you go to their website, I couldn't believe all the amazing things that they do. That really wasn't communicated, and so I would encourage everybody to support this project.
Very much.
And if I may add to that, there's two representatives out of Oxford. In this.
Commissioner Spitz?
There's two representatives out of Oxford also
Awesome.
participating in that event.
I know the police.
The chief and then the director of the
And there's
DDA.
also somebody from the sheriff's office that's.
Okay.
And Mrs. Michigan.
Got Commissioner Nelson and Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So today, the county launched the Senior Volunteerism Grant Program for nonprofit organizations providing senior-centered services in Oakland County. The aim of this grant and funding is to help organizations that rely on older adult volunteers expanding their programming. So if anyone has any additional questions or comments, but most certainly please share the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell.
I would like to thank Thrive Oakland for hosting the commissioners today. For some of us who did make it to go see what Thrive Oakland is about and ask the critical questions so that, because we had some concerns last month, and of course they're in my district. And I will also give kudos to Deputy Carlson from Executive Culture's office, because all of my concerns, he answered them, and he was, I feel, very honest about things that are going on, and I so appreciate that, but they are working. It's a new entity, and we're going to continue to support them. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there any other announcements? Seeing none, that will bring us to our final public comment. This is an opportunity for people to address the board, the public to address the board on any topic. I have a couple people signed up here, so I'll start here, and then if you have a desire to approach, just ask you to share your name and community residence. First, I will start with Tony Siebert.
Good evening, Tony Siebert. I live in White Lake. I just want to say I appreciate this board's commitment to me and putting their trust in me to approve me for this appointment to the Building Authority. I will approach this position like I've approached everything in my life with full integrity and my due diligence, so I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Kevin Sugg, followed by Jenny Jarvis.
Hello, my name is Kevin Sugg. I live in Royal Oak. I've spoken to you all before on the death of my son, my only son, Jason, at the hands of the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. It's been 3 years now, and despite repeated requests, I've received no answers from the Sheriff's Department. I've sent my list of questions to them. Their lawyer has flat out refused to meet with me or answer any of these questions. We did a really nice thing at the beginning of this meeting. We all stood up, faced that flag, put our hands over our heart, and we pledged justice for all. I hope you guys remember that. I've studied their report. I've 27 years as a quality engineer. I analyze things, and I'm very good at it. It's a report, not an investigation. More than anyone else involved, I've studied that. It's a completely biased and untruthful report, written to deceive. The sheriff states that Oakland County maintains a dedicated and independent internal affairs unit. No mention of unbiased. Anybody can be independent, anybody can be dedicated. This report with its false information is what the prosecutor's office reviews before putting a judgment of justified or unjustified on my son's death. Garbage in, garbage out. I filed complaints with the Attorney General's office and got turned down twice. What do? They refer me back to the Sheriff's office to put a complaint in. How can I go to the CAT? The Sheriff is accountable to us. He's accountable to this commission, to the people of Oakland County, and to me, my wife. But he refuses to be accountable. He refuses to meet or answer any of my questions about my son's death. If there's nothing to hide, why won't he speak to me? Sheriffs must be leaders. They must be leaders in the exercise of ethical behavior. Sheriffs need to be above reproach. You guys just patted those guys on the back. That's the sheriff department you really have. The sheriff and the deputies are given incredible amounts of power in Michigan. They can detain citizens, impound property, issue orders to appear in court, remove children from their parents, and even take a human life. No other profession has that kind of power. The most heinous crime anyone can commit is to breach the trust of such a great power. In Oakland County, the police subculture of silence and compliance is hard at work. Read and study the report on my son's death. Read it and study it. You'll see this at work. The thin blue line is the attitude of police officers that loyalty is to the brotherhood is more important than following the law. Bottom line, what does it take to get answers? What does it take? You guys, I'm sure he's listening and he's gonna watch this. Sheriff Bouchard, come on out and face me. What are you afraid of? Did you guys do nothing wrong? Obviously you did. You murdered my son and you lied about it. And if you study the report, you'll find out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jenny Jarvis.
Good evening, Jenny Jarvis, Farmington Hills. I'm actually here on behalf of the Area Agency on Aging 1B. I'm the Chief Communications Officer for the agency, and we wanted to share with you in person about the change of our name. We have rebranded, and you've hopefully heard and already heard our various media and our outreach, but we have rebranded as Ageways Nonprofit Senior Services, and we wanted to just share why. Probably the most obvious reason is who can really say Area Agency on Aging 1B 3 times? I dare you to try and do it and say it correctly. It's a very difficult name to say, a very difficult name to remember. We're hoping with our new name that we're able to reach seniors and family caregivers, have a greater awareness of our organization, and provide more services and supports to those in need. So that was all. Thank you for the opportunity and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Is there anybody else, member of the public, that would like to address the commission this evening? See none, I will close public comment. That will bring us to the end of tonight's meeting. We will adjourn till February 29, 2024. Call the chair. Good night. Be safe, everybody.